Hi guys, welcome, and today a review of new camera, because I have a new camera. As you can see, it looks very similar to an old one because it's also a Sony, and as you know I had a A58 Sony, but now I have a new one, this Sony A99. And exactly, I've chosen A58 a long time ago because I was moving from a camcorder, from Panasonic camcorder, as you know, to a DSLR, and I've chosen A58 because it's a Sony. It's based on I chose Sony because it's based on Minolta lenses, because you can use Minolta lenses. See, I have still Minolta lens, 4 lenses, but the thing is that it's compatible. And I chose A58 because the price was really good. It's much faster and better camera than older version A57, but at this moment I had to choose make a balance between quality and price. And after, I bought a kit version with a standard lens with a 1855 APS-C lens, because this was a APS-C camera, so I bought a kit lens, with a standard lens. Then I bought on a Flowmarkt in Berlin a second lens, which was a full frame lens. Exactly, I have this lens still. That's 3580 full frame lens, really good full frame lens with a light 4 to 5.6, really good lens. A little dark, but for a start really good, and I paid for this 15 euros, so 15 euros for a lens. It's a really good price. Then I sold the old kit lens, and this 80 to 55, and I bought 3 other lenses. My standard lens, 28mm, 28 with f2.8, really good lens to recording wide and very good light, really good lens. I have also 50mm with a light 1.7 with a light 1.7, and is mostly for portraits. And I have a zoom lens, which is exactly this lens. It's 80 to 200, darker but also really nice for a zooming, because if you want a zoom I use this one, and at night I use 28 with a light 2.8, which is with a really good quality. All these 4 lenses are full frame, but after time it was a possibility to buy a used Sony A99, this one, and I was thinking about upgrading camera from A58 to something else, but I wanted to stay in the same system, so with a Sony Minolta system, because I had a lot of lenses. And also I know that this mirrorless cameras, and then with a Sony E bayonet, and you can use adapter from Sony E to Sony A, but I didn't want this in case of the batteries, because as you see, this battery is FM500H battery, and I have exactly 4 batteries, so I wanted a camera which will be able to use the same type of batteries, to don't waste the money. And I found there were only 2 items in UK from this camera with a different price, so when I found it in a quite cheap, I bought a used one. Really nice. But more about this camera, it uses the same, you use old Sony A bayonet, so you can use all Minolta lenses, Minolta autofocus lenses, and Sony with A bayonet. But you need to remember that in case this is a full frame camera, you need a full frame lenses. So all the Minolta lenses are all full frame, but with new Sony lenses to digital cameras, you need to look, because some of them are only for APS-C, so you need to choose lens for a full frame camera, because you can use the lenses for APS-C, but you don't use the all quality of this camera. As I've told you, this is a full frame camera. As I will remove a lens to show you, it's a full frame camera. Yeah, I need to turn this back. Just a second. Full frame camera, because in a DSLR from Sony there's only A99, as a full frame. Below is A77, which is the top from APS-C, but it's not. That is APS-C. So I know this is a really good camera. I was thinking this is like A77 plus full frame, but it's much more. Just a short review. On the front you have a really quiet adjustment here with a button. You can select autofocus mode, bayonet. Here is a measure for autofocus, adjustment here. On the top you can see there's a second LCD, so you see the main parameters of the camera. When I turn on, it takes a while, you see that everything is displayed here. In the back, of course, we have display, which is adjustable, so we can adjust like this, and you can move 180 degrees. So it's really nice. And now we don't see anything, but we want to open. And then there's a standard view, and you can choose to view with more information when you press display. You can choose to this view, which we know from DSLR A900, which was the full frame DSLR from Sony, but without possibility to make videos. So yeah, and then menu button, recording videos, really important, because I use for YouTube purposes camera, autofocus, manual focus, AL, display function, preview. All these buttons can be programmed to use for other functions, so it's really nice. I will close the lens. Of course, the main switch with the modes, and then I will turn off. On the left side we have first on the top is a connector to a remote control for the remote control flashes and buttons. On the left side, here we have a GPS antenna, when because it's a built-in GPS, so we can put the GPS tags on the file, so we know where it was made. DC in for a external power supply, but this power supply you can use only in the studio. You can't use this power supply to charge a battery, so battery you need to remove and put in a charger. Then we have another next one. We have connections here, exactly connections here. We have a connection to the headphones, a green one, and to a microphone, the pink one. So headphones and microphone, external mic as in smaller cameras, but also you have a connection to a headphone, so you can hear this exactly which is recorded on the camera. You don't hear everything, you hear this which is recorded. How to think. And on the next one we have HDMI, which is very important. You can use this to play videos and see photos, but also it's a direct HDMI. You can the camera can put the signal from a sensor directly on HDMI, so you see on a recording on a separate monitor what the camera see. You can see everything. What is recording. You can use external recorder. You can use a big screen if you are in studio and you have some monitor. You can connect to HDMI and you see everything what is recording. So it's really nice. And you have USB port. In this camera, this is mini USB 2.0. It's mini USB. It's not a micro like in the A58. It's mini, but it's also really nice. On the right side, we have this cover. When you open, inside we have SD card slots. We have two SD card slots. Slot 1, as you can see, support SD cards and memory stick from Sony. The right slot number 2 only SD cards. It's important to use at least UHS 1 cards, because slower even class 10 cards are too slow, so we need UHC 1. Ultra 1 cards. It's important the card will be with a speed at least 85 megabytes per second. I have 90, 2 cards with a 90, as I showed on a previous video from an offer that I bought 3 cards in a Carrier PC World for a price of 2. So I had one to a phone and two to a camera. Exactly, one was to my old camera and one was in advance, but I know that in one time I will have a new camera, so this is really fast. Too fast SanDisk Ultra cards. And the last part, the bottom. On the bottom, exactly, battery, connection to a tripod, standard connection to a tripod, and then very important, which is not available in all DSLRs, is a connection to a vertical grip. So if you have a vertical grip, it is connected using this port here, because on a vertical grip for A99 we have additional buttons, which is just duplication of these buttons here, but also you can connect 2 additional batteries in a grip, so you have 1 battery in a camera and 2 batteries in a grip. And something more, how it's made, it's not a plastic camera like with A58, it's a alu and magnesium, so it's quite heavy. The camera without a lens is almost about 2 pounds. Yeah, about 2 pounds wide. I don't remember exactly, but about 2 pounds wide. The only body plus lens, so it is a heavy camera, but it makes really good quality videos. So next videos will be made using this camera, Sony A99. And what is important about this camera, that everything can be set in a menu. I will turn on and go to a menu. As you can see, you can choose absolutely everything. You can see it's almost everything. Is not the best idea that I was talked about all options and what you can set in a menu, because the manual has, this is very big. It's 200 pages over, I don't remember, but it's a really big manual. And I didn't expect that this camera will be as good. I've known this is a really good model, this is a really good camera, but I didn't know that this is as extremely good. So I'm really happy with this camera. And yeah, especially this is a used one with a really good condition, and I can record almost everything what I want. I can adjust this lens which I need for a normal recording, 28mm, for in a good weather with a really good light, some zoom lenses. You can do almost everything. And the multiply of options, so you can go through many options in the automatic mode, in the manual mode. You can program some modes here, so that you can do almost everything. I know this is not a cheap camera, it's the highest, the top of the Sony, because there's a top model from Sony DSLR, so yeah. And if you want to buy a new lenses, you need to buy lenses for a full frame camera, so it will be even more expensive because it's a full frame. I know this, that is not a cheap solution, but if you upgrade, you have a lot, and you can buy some used lenses, and you will find that body in a good condition, in a good price. Is really nice. And the next series on my channel will be made exactly using this camera, Sony A99, so you will see the quality alive. You will see everything on the videos, how it works. Yeah, so I definitely can recommend this camera because it's really great model. Thanks for watching and see you soon.